Senator Kiregei and Mungatana, please remind them that under our standing orders, practices and protocols, I'm in leadership.
Senators, please allow Senator Khalwale to proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the protection. I wanted to applaud Senator Edwin Funa for this good industry, and I'll quickly want to urge him to realize that this thing is bigger than he thinks. Yes, it is his brainchild, but he needs to bring many more players on board so that we can make this law more comprehensive. Very quickly, in establishment of the County Sports Association Fund, for example, he has mentioned how the sources of the fund. We can quickly agree with him with A, B, and C, but also help him to also realize that we can make money from, source that money from gate collections at the various stadia. We can also make money from hiring out the various stadia. Would want to add, Madam Speaker, that we want to demand in this law that we get money directly from the exchequer. Why do I insist that it is noble for us to ask for money from the exchequer? It is because in our budget, we give up to 13% of our budget, Madam Speaker, we put into agriculture. Why? Because there will be returns. Now, viewed as an industry, the economy of sports can generate so much money into our revenue collection. And therefore, I dare say that we should
order,
not...
Senator Mutinda, please don't... Sorry, Senator Kavindu, please don't speak on phone loudly. Apologies, Senator Mutinda.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. That we should pump up to 10% from the exchequer of our budget into the sports. And let nobody be surprised with what I'm saying. Because if we can spend the billions of shillings that we pump into political parties, why can we not spend 10% of our budget on sports? And for you to realize how great the returns are from investment into sports, let me just walk you through about what happens in football. Madam Speaker, if you go to the English Premier League, the English Premier League is an 11.84 billion euro economy. That is the equivalent of 235 billion Kenya shillings. And all they do is to kick a ball. But in our case, they'll kick a ball, they will run to be the famous champions of Eldoret, and what's more, Madam Speaker, if we invest, our sports will not just be limited to football and athletics, but I'm slowly waking up the country to the potential of investing in bullfighting. Madam Speaker, because Mamba doesn't believe in this, I want to bring into the attention of the House that in Spain, bullfighting is not a joke. In Spain, and I had the privilege, Madam Speaker, to be sponsored by President Kibaki to go to Spain, where he allowed me to carry five bullfighters. We went there and visited the stadia and how they organize their bullfighting, and they mint billions of shillings from bullfighting. A day will come when bullfighting of Marinya when bullfighting of Ikolomani, when bullfighting of Isoga, Malaba and Butoto will be a major income earner to the economy of this country. I tell you. Madam Speaker, having said that, allow me to pay a tribute to President Mwai Kibaki.
There's nothing out of order. Proceed.
To Madrid. But not just that. In 2008, Mwai Kibaki came up with Vision 2030. And inside Vision 2030, yes, he had the pillar on the economy, he had the pillar on political stabilization of the country, but he also had the pillar on the social issues. Under sports, that's how Kibaki, after realizing what bullfighting would do in the social pillar, he was able to put money into us to go and learn something. Courtesy of that investment, I was able to kickstart the construction of a stadium in Malinya. That stadium has stalled, but I know, God willing, once I become the governor of Kakamega, I am going to complete Malinya Stadium. And every time we have a bullfighting event, Madam Speaker, Nissans will be arriving in Malinya, and each tourist will be paying $100. $100, only $100. A Nissan can carry up to around 14 people. So at $100, one Nissan, we shall be netting $1,400. To fill that stadium, we shall be needing in excess of almost 50 Nissans. You cannot imagine the multiplier effect of that industry, I believe. Madam Speaker, Kibaki wanted to quickly transform Kenya into a middle-income country by the year 2030. And as adequately articulated by Senator Osotsi, when the Jubilee government took over from Mwai Kibaki, they went and found inside the sports fund billions of shillings, and they started salivating for those billions, and that's how the stadia that Kibaki had wanted to grow from this initiative came to note. I cannot, Madam Speaker, comment by paying tribute to President Kibaki and forget about a young man from my backyard by the name of Honorable Ababu Namwamba. Not many people know that Ababu was a square peg in a square hole in that ministry. Ababu was a symbol of success when he was Minister for Sports. It is under Ababu that the ban on FKF by FIFA was lifted. That is how Kenya came back into competing in soccer. It is during Ababu's time, Madam Speaker, that the soccer events that now have been reinvigorated in our secondary schools came up. Today, if you go to our secondary schools, the soccer that used to be in Green Commandos, Kakamega High School, the Scorpions of Musingo High School, the champions of Kisii High School, the champions of Kisumu Boys are back. They are now competing thanks to efforts by Ababu. I want to celebrate Ababu because Ababu, the Talanda Sports City in Ngong, was his brainchild. And when you go there, the construction which was ongoing, I wonder, how was the decision made to remove Ababu, who was performing, and then bring there people like the way I saw, he's called Ruku. I saw a guy called Ruku being interviewed to become minister. The guy struggled. Then they put there another lady, Madam Speaker, called Cheptumo, with due respect, wife of our colleague. But she's not material for minister. You saw the minister who is going to be in charge of gender, telling the whole country which cared to listen that the reason why our young girls die in Airbnbs is because they're hungry for money. Madam Speaker, you'll have your space. You'll challenge me.
What's your point of order, Senator
me.
Professor Kamar? Please sit down, Senator Khalwale.
Madam Speaker, did you hear the honorable member tell us that an unqualified person, I don't even want to mention names, has been elevated to be minister? Which criteria does the honorable Khalwale have for appointment of ministers, which we don't have in this house? Senator
Khalwale, unless you're able to
Madam
demonstrate
Speaker,
that...
because of the respect I have for Prof,
you will withdraw.
I wish she had told me what she wanted me to do. She has not told me, but because of the respect I have for her, all I meant, Prof, and I'm a very serious debater, is that...
Senator Khalwale, Senator Professor Kamar, you want to clarify what you said?
I'll be happy. Yeah, by saying if he does not have a criteria that is laid out that somebody has, that the National Assembly has failed to use, then he should really withdraw that. It should not be now answered.
Senator Khalwale, you need to demonstrate that the criteria applicable to a minister was not met by the National Assembly, or withdraw what you said.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'm surprised that a teacher of a university can fail to remember that the high standard of appointing ministers, I'm now expanding.
Senator Khalwale, you just want to explain how the two ministers, and you made reference to two ministers, failed to meet the qualification standard set, that is required of ministers.
Okay. Let me prove it this way. Madam Speaker, the standard of a minister under the new constitution is specified. They are not only appointed by the president, but they are supposed to undergo rigorous vetting. It is because of what Kenyans saw during the rigorous vetting that we realized
Senator
they
Khalwale,
failed.
the allegation is by you, not by Kenyans. Can you please just
yes,
go to the point?
It is that rigorous vetting which I witnessed that made me get persuaded that they will not perform. You can't pretend. You either have it or you don't have it.
Senator Khalwale, you have not demonstrated that the Senator Khalwale, this is serious.
Yes.
You have not indicated the bar that they did not meet. Please.
Madam Speaker, because I'm discussing about colleagues, I don't want to take it beyond what I've said, but if Prof insists, I'll withdraw. Madam Speaker.
Senator Khalwale, it's not Prof insisting. It is the chair who is asking you to withdraw because you have not demonstrated what I've asked you to demonstrate. Would you kindly withdraw?
Madam Speaker, because the chair is my kid sister, I want to make her very happy by, by withdrawing.
Order, Senator Khalwale.
Thank you, Madam
Senator, the chair is the chair.
You know, I have withdrawn. I withdraw. Madam Speaker, the issue that is very clear in my mind is that if we fall back to Vision 2030 that was envisioned by President Kibaki in 2030, where development of stadia was a priority, if you care to read it, President Kibaki wanted that in every county today, we would be having a stadia. High quality. And because of the talent that abounds, you can't imagine the latent talent that we would untap. Who would have known until recently that Luhyas can produce some of the best athletes? The fastest man in Africa today is Ferdinand Kahayanga Omonyala. The fastest man in the world in 800 meters is none other than Wanyonyi from Bungoma. I forgot to say that Ferdinand Omanyala Kahayanga, the grandmother, no. I would love to. The grandmother of Ferdinand is called Mshere Valeya Wakahayanga, who happens to be my elder sister. Is my grandnephew, if there's such a thing. So, Madam Speaker, we want to insist that we give each county a stadium. But for huge counties like Nairobi, because of the population, you give them more stadia. Kakamega the same, Bungoma the same, Mombasa the same, Nakuru the same, Kiambu the same. Madam Speaker, the success of sports lies on how you nurture it from the youth. In Brazil, children join the academies between the ages of 5 and 10. In the UK, they join around about 10, 11 years old. In Kenya, because of the challenge of liquidity, we cannot be able to put up stadia and also put up school football academies fast enough. However, there's a response. We can start by part of this money, Senator for Nairobi, being directed to schools. It is not in doubt where football talent is in Kenya. It is normally very rare to get players from other areas succeeding at the highest level in soccer, but that normally happens very fast for children from Coast, for children from Western, for children from Nyanza, and specifically the Luhyas and the Luos. We are the giants of football. Madam Speaker, I would love that we specifically take money to Kakamega High School, Msingo High School, Kisii High School, Kisumu Boys, and Highway Secondary School here in Nairobi. They're the ones who are perpetually winning the national championships for football. Madam Speaker, having said that, there is something which I saw, it started drawing laughter. But I have actually calculated the bullfighting that I was referring to. In Spain, it is a 1.6 billion euro economy in Spain. This is equivalent to 235 billion shillings. And our bullfighting is more sophisticated than the bullfighting of Spain, because the one of Spain, they end up murdering the fighter bull. But in our culture, in our type of sport, the fighter bull is idolized, it is celebrated, it is immortalized. The money that we go to borrow from Europe so as to invest in sports, we don't have to. There is talent there which we need just to grow by minimal investment. As I was telling you, the Champions League, not Champions League, the English Premier League is an 11.84 billion euro shilling. This translates to 2 trillion shillings, Kenya shillings. So at our fingertip right there, we have an answer to how we can fund sports. With those many remarks, I want to celebrate Senator Cherargei, Senator for Nandi. I had the opportunity, Madam Speaker, to confirm that he's a footballer. But he shocked me when I saw him on the ball. I didn't know when I saw his shape. I didn't know it was the player or whether he was the ball. We just made I support.